We explored 4 different paradigms of agent-based problem solving. First, we looked at single agents, where one agent takes on a problem independently, learns and acts on its own, which is essentially a simple system, but sometimes that's all you need to solve the problem that you're trying to accomplish here. Then we moved into a multi-agent system where multiple agents collaborate with each other and tackle a much more complex problem. You can essentially think of it as a team work or a team effort where each agent contributes one piece of the puzzle. Next, we discussed a mixture of experts kind of a agent setup where we don't just have multiple agents, but we have multiple groups of agents where each group of agent is specializing in a particular domain. These clusters bring in a layered expertise to solve a more nuanced problem where each group can solve a certain problem state. And finally, we saw agent swarms, which is essentially dynamic systems where agents replicate and adapt in real time, scaling up to meet demands of rapidly changing environments. Each of these methods provides a unique strength depending on the complexity and the nature of the problem that we're trying to achieve. Now I'll show you how these models are applied in a real world example. Now, taking you straight into the problem statement that we have, let's imagine that I have a company and the company has a sales and operating plan already ready. But just last night, we received a large order. Now, at this point, our Agenthood solution kicks into action with an anomaly detection agent, which will identify if the order that we just received last night is actually disrupting the SNOP plan or not. If yes, it will essentially create or deploy 2 different agent groups. One is going to be a scenario modeling agent with the core objective of identifying how can we best cater to this demand spike, and planning revisions agent for a long-term planning action workflow. This is how that entire workflow looks like, where every tiny agent works towards a specific goal within its confines. So as you can see, there's a lot going on the screen, and that is what behind the scenes all of the agents do. Right? Going into a little bit more detail, the scenario modeling agent allows the platform to identify how can we best cater to this demand spike that is coming, for which it is going to employ multiple agents. One agent is identifying the best strategy to move inventory around from nearby warehouses, which is identified in this box. Right? Another agent is identifying production strategy, considering capacity, our production schedules, and overtime calculations. And a third bot, which is essentially called a scenario bot in this example, acts as a brain that evaluates both the strategies given by the inventory agent and the production agent, and it gives the end user either a hybrid set of plans or what it identifies as the best course of scenario by finding the right mix among all of these strategies. Okay, and once the user selects a particular plan, because ultimately the way agentic AI is today, agents are still not as smart as humans, and it has not crossed that boundary where we don't no longer need human in the loop. So as soon as the AI comes up with a list of plans of what we can do in this scenario, the user has to select a plan as an overseer or a supervisor of this workflow, which is then going to trigger an approval workflow within our system so that all of the impacted warehouses and all of the impacted production lines will be involved in taking the approval, because ultimately whatever plan is chosen and approved by all is what gets implemented throughout this organization. Okay, so once a user selects a plan, an approval workflow is triggered that generates and sends a proposal document for the selected plan to all of the key stakeholders, which has to be approved. And after all of these approvals are then received, that plan is taken into action. Next, we will also talk about the planner workflow or the long-term workflow. Essentially, once we have identified how can the agentic workflow best cater to this demand spike, we then hand it over to the planner workflow, which essentially works to be able to ensure that this new order that had come in that created a disruption If this order comes back again in the next quarter, that no longer creates uh, that no longer creates an anomaly for us. And the next sales plan that we have, or the next operating plan that we have, has already catered to this demand spike. Right. So I'll just take a pause here. I wanted to quickly stop and start showing the actual tool because, as you can understand, agentic AI demo. For that, I need to first talk about what the AI is doing in the backend, so that when I do switch over to the AI, you guys can fully appreciate what the AI is doing in the backend to be able to give you that UI out. Right. So I'll just stop sharing and bring up the UI. Once that does come up, do let me know in the screen. So I'll start off from the UI and I'll try and connect the dots between the example that I just shared and this UI. So this demo environment that we've set up keeping in mind the scenario that I just explained, that the large order that we had received last night, as a user now, I have logged in for the very first time this morning. I don't even know that there was an order that came in that caused a demand spike. So here what I'm doing is, as soon as I log in, the system first prompts me that, hey, there is something wrong. There's an anomaly detected. So here when I click on view details in this anomaly, which says 800 units of order received in Grand Island, when I click on view details, now first it has to tell me what the problem is, right? So first it shows me the problem statement, which is this is the anomaly that we received. There was a demand spike of 800 units that we received. Why is that a problem? That is a problem because we have existing inventory of 372 units and inventory in pipeline of 250 units. And when I say pipeline, we mean it could be in transit or it could be currently in production. Now, basis this numbers, we've identified that there is a demand gap that we have still to cover of 178 units. Now, this is a problem that it explained to me. Now it has to explain to me how to get to the solution. What can the AI do best to come up with the solution? The AI has given me a list of three plans because when it is generating a plan, the first attempt that it does may not always be correct. So we always force the AI to come up with multiple variations so that when the end user or the human in the loop actually has to take a decision, they have multiple options to choose from. So one of those is, let's say, plan A, where it is telling me that, okay, 70% of the demand that had just come in can be satisfied by inventory movement. That's what it's telling me. And it's telling me that, but for the remaining 30%, you actually have to increase your production. So now I need some more information than just that, right? So for inventory movement, which is 70% of the demand spike, it's telling me that I can either get you the delivery fast or I can get it to you cheap, right? And why is it giving me these two options? Because in the backend, we've actually configured multiple logistic service providers for this example. Now, that is doing is I have a premium logistic service provider that charges me extra, charges me a premium, but gets me the order delivery fast. So if I have to move inventory around from one warehouse to another, that charges some extra cost, but it's able to deliver it fairly quicker because it does not wait for my trucks to be populated completely or for my trucks to be filled completely, and it's able to deliver quickly. I have another logistic service provider that is a lot more cost effective because that is waiting for consolidation across various customers that it has. So it is going to take far more number of days to actually get me the delivery, but it's going to be cheap. So as a user right here, I have a decision to make. So when I see some details that, okay, if I want it fast, let's see what it's recommending, right? So it's telling me that you can take 80 units from the Norfolk warehouse and 45 units from the Fremont warehouse, where it's saying that there is 632 units available for transfer, and out of which I am recommending that you should be moving 80 units. One thing I would want to bring your attention to is this data that you see here, all of it you can see as non-native, right? Because the distributor center name is a fact. The units that is available for transfer are facts. But what the AI helped you populate is how many units do you want to be able to move from a certain warehouse. For whatever units you need to move from a warehouse, that is what the agent is recommending here. And that is why it is editable, because ultimately, whatever the AI agent is recommending to you, that is what you can override. Because the entire point of an AI agent is it is never going to make the final decision for you, or it is not supposed to as of today's day and age. Once AI does become smarter than humans, which may be shortly, we can recode this in a way where AI is taking all of the decisions for you as well. And from the Fremont warehouse, it's asking me to move 45 units worth of inventory. And it tells me this is a transportation cost that it will incur based on a simple calculation that it may have done. And the ETA is 2 days and 3 days respectively. But let's say I don't want it fast, maybe I want it cheap. So then in the cost effective scenario, it's telling me that, okay, it is going to be far more cheaper if you get the delivery from the Omaha warehouse, although it is going to take a lot longer because the ETA is 5 days now. And from the Norfolk warehouse, it's asking me to get 23 units worth of inventory. But as you can see, the transportation cost is far lower. So let me select, let's say, fastest delivery in this example. Right. So this is what I want. I want it fast because I am a little bit jittery that I want to cover this order spike quickly. And I don't want the customer to be able to get a chance to complain. Now I switch over to the production increase. So 30% of this demand will be catered by production increase. Now the data for this example and for this demo we have set up has line A, B, and C, quite simplistic. Here on this data, it is telling you not only what your current production is, but what is the current capacity of our production line and how much do we have to spare. Now, even if a line has some spare capacity that it is not producing the product that we're talking about here, it might still be producing it for another product, right? So there may be spare capacity that is reserved for some other product here, which is why it is telling me that you cannot use that because it is consumed for some other product line that we have. Now, once I've taken this decision here, and if as a subject matter expert in my area, I'm able to also make changes to these units that it is recommending, and it is going to let you do that as long as the numbers still add up, right? Once comfortable with the proposal here, I will click on preview proposal document. Now, this page that you see here is also generated by an agent, which is essentially the AI explaining its calculation, right? To be able to convince an end user that this is the right way to go. So it is giving you all of the information in a Gen AI sort of a setup. This is another AI agent that we have configured within Agenthood. So far, just to keep a track, we have seen what the inventory agent did. We saw what the production agent did. And now we are looking at what the document generator or the proposal generator agent has done, right? So once I'm convinced with this UI, this proposal, which in the future we are also planning to actually add redlining for here, where multiple users can collaborate right here on this document and make changes to the proposal document right here on the spot. So once you're comfortable with this proposal document, you can submit it, where it is going to say that, okay, respective decision makers will be notified to take quick action. Are you sure you want to continue? Say, okay, yes, that sounds good. Now, once I've submitted it, what can the submitter user do? Now that I have submitted this for proposal, I have the ability to check where is it currently in the approval process, because I want this to be approved fast and I want to be able to track where it is in the approval journey. So it's telling me that, okay, first for the Norfolk warehouse approval line, it is going to first go to Aditya and then a few others right here. As a submitter user, I have the ability to send a reminder for anywhere it is stuck for long. So if I say remind, it says that, hey, reminder has been sent successfully, which is of course sent via email as well as a notification within our platform. Now, I also wanted to bring your attention to how will this UI look for an approver user. So I'll just switch over to show how the approver user UI looks like. So here for the approver user, when I click on, when I log in, the very first thing that I see here is a pending action that says, this is something that is pending your approval. When I click here, it's going to show me the same proposal document that you generated a moment ago. And it is telling me where I am in the approval chain. But more interestingly, because this logged in user is an inventory manager, it also tells me a key nuance about this proposal with respect to my role. Because I am an inventory manager, it tells me that, hey, this proposal that is being floated around might actually disrupt your forecast plan. So when I click on view report here, it tells me that out of all of your orders that are currently in process, this demand spike will actually impact some of your orders in process, or this proposal that has been floated around might disrupt your orders. So based on this informed decision, you have the ability to go back and say, yes, I either approve it or reject it. So this is how our agenthood platform works in action. Now, we are not saying that this is the end of what we can achieve with the agenthood platform, but this is just one example that we have catered to in the industry, which helps you visualize what all can be done with our platform. Now, just to give you a little bit of a nuance further, is if yeah, sorry.
I
I
just
just
wanted to,
before
before Laksh goes into the details, hi everyone, this is Siddharth. I wanted to highlight one quick thing here that for majority of these systems that Laksh has shown you, okay, the important part is that there are agents that are doing all the work. So in a world where agent did not exist, right, the type of information sharing that has happened would have taken months. Imagine if a spike value came for 800 units, for somebody to go find out how many items are in inventory, how many are in pipeline as in transit, and how many do I need to manufacture or produce will be significantly high, right? And that 178 quantity, just that part itself would have taken several days for somebody to identify. Our agent was able to go through the entire inventory, entire transit schedule, and come back with how many quantities are you actually need. That's the first magic. The second magic will be that as soon as he knows that 178 needs to be done, okay, then the part is an agent will be able to instantly look at how many production lines are available. Do I have on a production line? How much capacity do I have? If I have the capacity available, then which line should I prioritize? Okay. Then even within, if I don't have to do the production, but I have to do inventory movement, then from among the inventory movement, what exactly is the cost that is required by each of the agent, whether it's best time or whether it is best cost. These are all of multiple decisions. If you ask your team members to go ahead and figure out that cost of finding the best cost option, or find the options of best time option, it takes weeks and weeks. Having worked in a business for many years, I can definitely guarantee it would have taken several weeks to get to this level of visibility. But the agentic AI capability of agenthood platform helps you consolidate all that information in a matter of minutes. Like within 3 or 4 minutes, all of the systems can run, or maybe it's 15 minutes. If you have queried the information from a logistics platform and they have yet to give, some delays may come, but within 15 to 20 minutes, you will get that information handy. And right now, we are incorporating a human in the loop there, so that a report gets consolidated, that report can be shared or sent to a human for review. Now, as soon as a demand came, imagine next morning, the report is available at the executive for them to be able to make a decision. That's the power of agentic platform, that it helps speed to decision making, or information to decision making, or information required for decision making is extremely fast. Okay, and that will deliver so much significant business value that is unprecedented so far. Okay, I'll pass it on back to Lakshya so he can show you how these agents, this recipe that we showed you, how is it created? What are the ingredients behind it? How individual agent gets created, and how there's an amazing amount of orchestration. Because you don't want the logistics agent to keep working 24 hours. You want the logistics agent to get triggered only when the demand came. So how did we decide that? How did we decide that the inventory check agent, oh sorry, production agent will get triggered only when the inventory is not enough? So those are some of the things that Laksh is now going to walk you through about the console behind setting off agents. Thank
all right. Thank you, sir. So I think my screen is visible, right? All right. So I'll just switch over to the agents. So far, what we have done is we have the ability to we just showed you how the agents work in action based on the input platform. But I just want to show you that this is not what we wanted to uh, get across at the end of this call. What we actually wanted to do was to just now want to show you that how did we achieve this, right? What were the agents that went on in the background to be able to get you this experience on the UI? Because Agenthood platform is not meant to solve one use case. Rather, is expected to be able to create a framework on how we can use these modular agents in the Agenthood platform to be able to solve any such use case, right? So I'm just sharing my screen here where I'm showing a list of all agents that we have. So what I just showed you were a list of manufacturing agents in action, but we also have different agents for different use cases. We have some BFSI agents that you can see here. We also have some healthcare related agents that I can see here. All of these essentially uh, come together to be able to solve any such use case that you may have, and you can create your own agents right here. So if I just take an example, for example, let's say for a BFSI, let's take this one. Okay, I'll take a simple one where we have an agent detection agent, which identifies, which uses this setup of input function and output to be able to identify uh, what inputs do I take as an agent, what do I do with that input, and how do I process that into an output. So this simple UI that you can see here essentially helps us create the entire front end capability that you just saw, because these individual agents take up very small tasks for themselves, but collectively, once they work together, once orchestrated the right way, they will be able to create the magic that you saw on this demo today. Now, how do these agents work together to be able to achieve that? For that, we have a very easy visual builder that I can show you, where you can essentially just simply drag and drop agents. So the example that I showed you today, this is the process that helped achieve that, where there was the very first agent, which was the anomaly detection agent, which uh, kept checking for what is the demand that is coming in and whether that is an anomaly or not. Now, basis this, it passes the information on to the inventory checker, as we discussed, with the sole purpose of trying to understand how can we leverage our local and nearby inventory to be able to solve the purpose. If that is enough, great, go ahead and create an action plan and generate a proposal. If not, then we include the production agent, right? So this was just this process that we were able to render into a simple UI to be able to get you the outcome that you saw. Similarly, you can create any such process using our tool to be able to solve as complex use cases as you can dream of. So that's what we wanted to show in this session today. I will also open this up to the floor for any questions that you may have that you may be holding up. Yeah, I'll stop talking now. Yeah.
And what you are seeing on your screen is a very simplified version of how a canvas can be used to orchestrate these agents. Now, the capability on the left hand side are like there are several elements. There is conditionality. There are all the agents that you have created, and you can create the entire workflow can be added as an agent. So you can create a workflow of workflows in order to simplify that entire thing, to make sure that relatively complex workflows can be created and deployed and monitored. There is a scheduler behind the scene which can help you schedule this on a daily basis, on a periodic basis, on a conditional basis. So what you're seeing right now is a conditional workflow, that when the demand spike comes, but in the eventuality, if you need something that this workflow needs to get executed on a daily basis every morning, you can do that. Right? So it's only a matter of our imagination and business requirement that can completely transform the way we work now using agenthood.ai.
I have, so this actually is a very thanks for the informative demo that we are doing right now. I have a very specific use case with one of our clients, which is actually a service based organization like us, and what they are trying to do is just like you planned your inventory, you planned your uh, uh, or maybe detected your anomalies, just like that they want to do it for the resources. If there are multiple projects and I have a bench, I have certain resources which are already tagged, I know what can be my ask for next year, I have that budget for some. So if we imagine that scenario and we try to apply that in this one, I believe that is a percentage which is maybe less than or higher than my current timesheet or the invoices that are being raised. We can apply those rules, business rules, and get those anomalies, right?
Absolutely, Namita. No, definitely we can do that. We can create three, four different agents. One is the availability checker, second is the skill checker, the third is margin checker about what the resource cost and the whether availability is required is suitable or not. And based on that, we can create a project allocation part also for this.
Correct. And with respect to it, is there any way of sending the notifications to users that, okay, here we have detected an anomaly. We have this solution, but what do you want to do in this scenario? Do you want to change the database if the data was wrong or some sort of that functionality? Is that also part of it?
Yes, yes, absolutely. So there are two forms of notifications. The first one is comes on the application itself. The second is all notifications can be configured via email. And we are, as part of roadmap, we are also working on the mobile application so it can create a push
Hmm.
notification on cell phones. Devdutt, are there any
Sure.
other questions in the chat that we can take?
Lakshay, one of the questions from the audience are what are some of the business outcomes that can be achieved using Agenthood?
The question was that what all can we achieve with this Agenthood platform using agents? What we are doing here is we've explained a complicated example of how manufacturing use case can be achieved, but an agent can be something as simple as a single agent that takes your uh, sales data or sales pipeline data for the next 6 months and converts that into a summarized view using an AI or an LLM, converts it into a summarized view of what are the clients, what are the stages that they are in, who are the owners, and what are the risks involved, and sends out an email to your sales leadership once every month. All of this using our platform, what I just explained, can be solved using a single agent. So such examples are also possible using just the type of agents that we were explaining, either a single agent, a collection of agents, a group of agents, a swarm, so on and so forth. So yeah, I think that's
Yeah, if I can add to that, like when it comes to business outcome, there are two types of, like, effectiveness and efficiency. Both can be boosted significantly using this agenthood platform. When it comes to efficiency, right? You, as you saw just now, that complex assessment of different type of transportation methods, different types of production scheduling methods, all were done very effectively, which could have taken weeks, was being done in minutes. So that's definitely a big amount of efficiency savings that agent is giving us. The second is effectiveness, where just the analysis of all of these different data points that are coming and making the effectiveness of the decision that is coming, that yes, this is something, can we take up this order or not? Okay, after analyzing all different type of data, that is something that agenthood is also powering. So the savings on both, Bhavya, to your question on business outcome, effectiveness and efficiency, both are drivers which the agenthood platform can significantly, exponentially expedite for a business. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Lakshay and Sid. We have one more question, this time from Piyush, who's asking what kind of agents can we build using Agenthood?
Uh, so I think this is a little similar than to the previous question, but I also have a different answer. Uh, when we say what type of agents, this set of agents that you just saw are essentially task-oriented agents, but we also have the ability to create insight-related agents, where the agent will work on the input data, the entire database that we have available or connected to it, and it is going to be able to apply any sort of outlier analysis or whatever statistical models and prediction analysis that you can dream under the sun can be accomplished by an agent, which it is then going to pass on to another agent to be able to neatly package in a sentence that a business user can understand and that we can display on the front end or any front end or even send in an email to you. So what an agent can do today is essentially limited just by your imagination. We have solved tasks using it based on the explanation and the demo I gave today, but also insights and I mean everything that we can think of essentially comes somewhere in between these, right? So yeah, I guess that's the answer.
Yeah, and the type of agent is just one aspect of it, right? What the agent can do. A major important thing, Piyush, will be what triggers an agent.
Uh, Please go on, Sid. I think there was some more part to that explanation. Please go on.
Sorry, yeah, I was just mentioning that what agent capability is one part of it, which is now sky is the limit. Any type of functionality you want, complex algorithm services, agent can do all type of analytics. I think the place where agenthood platform really shines is the trigger that triggers an agent. And that is where we have configured the platform with several different types on how an agent can be invoked. There are threshold based agents, which are definitely driven based on certain value being met. That as soon as for this particular product, my inventory falls below the safety stock, then trigger an agent. That's one way to trigger it. Trend based agent. If I see that the decrement in sales consecutively for 3 weeks, then trigger an agent. Exception based agent, where if purchase order is not matching an invoice or invoice is not matching the goods receipt that was submitted, then trigger an agent. It could be a milestone based agent that on a particular interval, time based agent every month, every day, just execute that agent. That's the complexity and comprehensiveness of our platform. And there are seven other triggers that we have created that ensure that there are no scenarios that get missed out on when an agent needs to be invoked and what an agent can be done.
I do not see any more questions in the chat, so I guess that's it for the session. Thank you, Sid and Lakshya, for the comprehensive demo of the Agenthood platform, and also like how thank you for satisfying the curiosity of all our attendees through your answers in the Q&A. And to all the attendees, like we promised, we'll be getting back to you with a playbook of how to get started with agentic AI. And we'll be coming up with more such episodes on AI, agentic AI, and Gen AI. So stay tuned, and thank you so much for turning up once again. And that's it. Goodbye from Polestar.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.